When I was young, I was convinced that men and women could be friends. Yeah, I'd heard the saying that men and women can never be friends because the sex thing always gets in the way, right? But when I was young, like when I was in my, early 20s through my early 30s, I thought that that was just bullshit. I thought that men and women can be friends. Huh? Yeah, but the older I get, the more I realize it's bullshit. Assuming the man and the woman are straight, of course. See, there's always going to be an element of sexual attraction between two people of the opposite sex, of course, right? See, two straight guys can be friends. Two straight women can be friends. But a straight man and a straight woman, they'll never be friends because even if they don't want it to be so, at some point, one or the other, or both of them, will be sexually attracted to the other, right? And what will happen is that, see, more likely than not, it's not going to be that both are sexually attracted in one another. It's rather that one is sexually attracted and the other isn't. The other just likes the person as a friend, and that's it. And that is going to create all kinds of misery. See, in the case of a woman who sees a man as a friend and the man sees the woman as a potential sexual partner, well, you get the beta orbiter. Yeah, you get the beta orbiter, the white knight, call him what you will. You know the type I'm talking about, right? The guy is pining after the girl, and the girl, and she's very innocent about it, she just sees him as a friend, as somebody that she likes hanging out with, And it's, on the one hand, it's emasculating for the man that this woman that he adores does not see him as a sexual object. And that, by the way, that emasculation, I don't know how you would put it, but just the woman just seeing him as not a sexual being, it corrodes the soul. It's something that you don't want because it will diminish you in not only the eyes of the girl that you pine after, but she doesn't pine after you, it'll diminish you in the eyes of other women. It'll diminish you in your own eyes. And as you are diminished, you will be less sexually successful with other women. Yeah, so, no. Never be a beta orbiter. Never be that white knight who's, pining for Milady, and Milady never pays attention to the poor bastard. Never be that guy. Okay? But you see the point, right? Now, the other situation is where the girl is interested in the guy, but the guy isn't interested in the girl. See? And this, I'm an expert at this. Yeah, because for a number of years, I used to be friends with different women. And I liked them. I was just friends with them. I thought that they were terrific people. They were people that I thought I really want to hang out with. Yeah. I mean, I was like, I considered myself their best friend, right? And not once did I think of them as a sexual person. I viewed them as these wonderful people, these wonderful girls, and how come they can't find a good guy, How is it that they're all so alone? And any guy would be lucky to have them, is what I thought, right? And over the years, I realized that these girls were pining after me, right? And in one case, this girl that I'd been friends with for a number of years, she just ghosted on me. I mean, just vanished off the face of the earth. And her name was so common that it's sort of like impossible to find her. I've actually made the effort because I wondered, what happened to her? But of course, she realized after a number of years that I was never going to be sexually interested in her. And so she just decided to cut it off, which for her was actually the smart thing. And the other girl, well, what happened was that I was friends with her for also a number of years until all of a sudden, from what seemed to me out of the clear blue sky, she just had a fucking meltdown. And she just dumped all of this emotional shit on my head, And I was like, what the fuck is going on? What happened here? And, only later did I realize, piecing it all together, of course, she'd had a crush on me for years, and I'd made it clear to her that I was never going to be interested in her, and something must have finally clicked with her, and she finally realized it, and she dumped all this shit on me and never spoke to me again. Yeah, I know whereof I speak. A man and a woman can never be friends. Now, there's something else that you should be thinking about. Sometimes there are girls who encourage guys to be their friend, right? because it, puffs up their ego. Yeah, it just makes them feel desired and wanted. Yeah, because they're not foolish. They know what they're doing. They know that a lot of times when they encourage these friendships with a guy, the guy has other things on his mind. Yeah, he doesn't want to be fucking friends. He wants to be lovers with the girl, right? And the girl knows this. Perhaps not on a conscious level. Perhaps she is genuinely on a conscious level, just like doesn't know what's going on. But she flirts with the guy. She does little subtle things to turn him on. Yeah, you can always tell. You can always tell. And girls do this, and it's because they feel insecure. They feel insecure in their current relationship, their romantic relationship at the time, or they're insecure because maybe they don't have a romantic relationship at the time, right? And so they subtly encourage these guys to be their friend, but they're not really interested in them as sexual beings. They're just interested in them as a way to assuage their ego. You think that this happens only with women? That only women encourage members of the opposite sex to be friends with them in order to prop up their sexual ego? Au contraire. Oh yeah, I've done it. I've done it a number of times. I've a number of times fomented sexual attraction from girls. Just to prop myself up, just to feel better about myself. Sometimes I had no intention of sleeping with the girl, or sometimes I did sleep with her, but I had no intention of being, boyfriend and girlfriend with the girl. It was just to prop myself up. Oh yeah. And a lot of times, the guys who wind up fucking lots of girls, right? Who just hop from bed to bed to bed. That's what they're doing, you see? I mean, women, it's not that they're socialized, it's really an issue of evolution that they keep themselves tidy. They don't sleep around, slut it up that badly with their male friends. But guys, us, oh fuck yeah. We fuck around to prop up our ego. You have to understand what's going on here. You're propping up your ego because you feel insecure. Because if you're encouraging girls that you have no real intention of either sleeping with or having any kind of serious romantic relationship with, if you're encouraging them, it's because you feel insecure about your ability to attract the girl that you like or the type of women that you like. Yeah, that's why you're doing it. And that's why you're banging all these girls who are like, really just 6s and 5s and 4s on a 10 scale, right? You're just doing it so that you don't feel so insecure when you finally come across a girl that you're really interested in. So don't give me this shit that it's only girls who do it. Guys do it too. Oh yeah, but you're telling me, oh, but this one is different. This girl I know, I really connect with her, and I don't really want to sleep with her, and she doesn't want to sleep with me. We bond over like Star Wars or God knows what bullshit, pop culture crap, right? I mean, you're telling me this shit, and you're telling me that we're friends, we're not really interested. I'm telling you bullshit. Yeah, because if you're not sexually interested in one another now, you will be in the future, okay? Because here's a key issue about the relationship between a man and a woman. See, if you're exposed to a particular woman long enough, eventually one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to grow to hate her guts, or you're going to fall in love with her. Yeah, that's the way it is. If you're like locked in a room, in like some prison cell with some woman that you don't know, okay, any woman, doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter the temperament, doesn't matter her physical, anything about her. Nothing at all. But I'm telling you, if you are locked in a prison room with any woman, eventually it's going to be one of two outcomes. Desperately in love or hate her with a passion. Those are always the two outcomes when a man and a woman interact long enough. And from the point of view of the woman too, okay? I mean, this is both sides, okay? And see, sometimes, very rarely, I'm talking unicorn rare, a girl and a guy will be friends and eventually fall in love equally, right? And live happily ever after. Now that is a wonderful story. That is a truly wonderful story. Oh yeah. But see, it's like 1 in a million. It's 1 in a million, especially because of the society and culture we live in today, where you have so many options to meet people. Yeah, that's the thing. Especially girls. Girls today have more options than men. Okay? And, to bitch and moan about it is stupid. It's just the way it is. Now, because of the fact that you have all of this exposure to potential new partners, right, it is going to be a rare thing that a guy and a girl wind up together and falling in love with each other. They start as friends and eventually develop romantic feelings and wound up together and lived happily ever after. That's going to be a rare thing. What's more likely to happen is that the girl has a lot of social options, but the guy has very few. And because he has very few, he starts developing these romantic relationships, these romantic feelings rather, for this girl, this quote-unquote friend, right? And she doesn't. And it's a tragedy for the guy. And so that's why you don't want to fall into that trap. You want to develop as many social outlets as you possibly can. You want to be involved in as many different groups of people as you possibly can, okay? Because if you are in a very reduced number of social groups and very few social interactions, whatever girl happens to be in your life, you're going to fall in love with her. You're going to fall in love with her and think that it's the real thing, and you're going to be surprised and shocked that she doesn't feel the same for you, okay? What's going on is that, see, you've reduced your social options, and so you develop a case of like, oh, this girl, she's the only one in my life, and therefore I love her. You see? You start to obsess about some girl that doesn't feel the same about you, see? Tell me if this doesn't ring a bell. You're at work or school, right? You're going to your classes, you're going to your job, and you only talk to a few people. You talk to a few people at work, your boss, the people under you, your peers, what have you, maybe like a total of 10 people, right? Ditto if you're going to college, right? I mean, you've got your classmates that, casually, maybe a couple of study groups here and there, and you go to your classes and that's it, right? You don't really have that many social groups. And so all of a sudden, out of all the people you know, maybe say 20 people, let's just say 30 people to be generous, right? You know 30 people, or let me rephrase that, during any given week, you only interact with, say, maybe 30 people, right? And one of them is a cute girl who's like age appropriate for you and that you find her attractive, right? And you start talking to her because, you're interacting with her, and you start being quote-unquote friends with her. And you start falling in love with her, right? And she doesn't feel the same for you because she has all these other social options. Her attention is being pulled in all of these different social directions, as it were, right? And so she views you as a friend and you view her as the future mother of your children, right? How many times has that happened to you? How many times? Be honest, hand to heart, huh? Once, twice, 5 times, 10 times? Giant smirk on my face right now. And so you see how this can happen more to guys than to girls? See? Because, like I said before, in the current culture, in the current world that we're living in, girls get offered a lot of social options. And so they meet a lot of people. And a guy, especially a young guy, especially a guy who's just starting out and therefore is at the bottom of the pyramid, guy who doesn't have much to show for it, doesn't have much in terms of anything worthwhile, right? That guy, he has very few social options, and so he gets desperate. You see? It's a tragedy, but it happens every day. And so what do you have to do? You have to deliberately go out there and make as many social groups as you possibly can. Make social groups, belong to them, clubs, activities, hobbies. You got to get more people into your life. It's as simple as that, okay? Because you don't want to be that fucking schmuck that's pining after some girl who doesn't even know it exists, or worse, thinks that you're just friends. Yeah, because that's going to corrode your soul, okay? Like I said before, a guy who interacts with a girl who does not view him sexually, and he does, well, it's going to diminish his sense of self-worth, and he's going to be less successful with other women. So you got to cut that shit out instantly, okay? You got to develop more social interactions. And if a girl is in your life and you start to become friends, well, you got to bite the bullet and you got to cut off that friendship. Oh yeah, you have to stop being her friend because it's either that friendship or your fucking soul. Yeah, not kidding. Yeah, because if you keep that girl in your life, you're going to start obsessing about her and you're going to wind up with nothing. Right? Right. So you don't want that. So you cut her out of your life. Or you minimize the interaction, whatsoever that interaction will be. Whatever it is that you have to do, you have to kill that notion that this is a potential future mother of your children and focus on the fact that she's just this one girl because you know very few people. Right? Okay, that's what you have to do in the short term. But what happens in the medium term? In the medium term, to solve this problem, what you have to do is correctly diagnose what's going on in your life. So do the simple exercise. See, in whatever routine you currently have, right? You're going to school or work or whatever. Between, say, Saturday night of one week and the Saturday night of the next, count how many people you interact with. And write out a list, you know. Count out exactly the number of people that you meet in any given week. If it's less than 10, you're in fucking trouble. Oh yeah, if it's less than 10, then you gotta get the fuck out there, right? You gotta go out there and meet more people, right? If it's between 10 and 30, you're in trouble. Because 30 is not enough people. You gotta be meeting more. If it's between 30 and 50 people that you interact with, that's better. If it's 50 and above, that's optimal, okay? You want to be talking and interacting with at least 50 people every week. You want to be interacting with as many people as possible. And more to the point, you want to be interacting with new people, okay? The next thing that you should be doing is that, you know, in any given week, count up the number of people, but in subsequent weeks and over courses of the weeks to come and months to come, you should be counting how many people you meet every week. Because that's the way you expand your social horizons and meet more people and not fall into this trap of becoming friends with a woman. Because it is a trap. It is a trap. Oh yeah. It's a trap for both men and women. Okay? Because see, there is nothing more hurtful to a guy's sense of self-respect if a girl is not sexually attracted in him at all and he is pining after her, like I said before. But it's also bad for the woman, okay? It's horrible for the woman. I have these two cases where I can tell you, these two women, okay? One of these girls, I think that she was pining after me for a good 12 years. Not kidding. And I feel dreadful about it after the fact, but I didn't realize it. I didn't think that I was doing anything, not purposefully, not consciously at any rate. But looking back, I think that for a good 12 years, a dozen years, 12 years between, actually no, now that I think about it, between 93 and 2008, 15 years. Yeah, I think that this girl was pining for me for about 15 years. I think that the first year of our friendship, we were just friends and she just considered me a friend and I considered her a friend and had no sexual interest in her whatsoever, right? But I think that maybe in 96, 97 maybe, she started developing feelings for me. Yeah. 96, 97. Looking back, yeah. I mean, there was a point where we were like talking like every day for an hour. Yeah. Lots of times we were talking like every day for an hour. Yeah. And I was just telling her about my life and stuff, right? And she was just like telling me what she thought, giving me advice, this, that, blah, 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 right? And now that I think about it, it must have been catastrophic for her. It must have been horrifying for her to be hearing my deepest, darkest secrets, right? A lot of stuff that, you know, that I wouldn't tell a soul. Really personal stuff. And I figured I could tell her because I trusted her because she was a friend, right? Me telling her all this stuff and her, you know, thinking that I was the guy for her, but she didn't know how to make it happen, how to convert this, you know, and me having her basically like a girlfriend, right? More closer, emotionally closer than a girlfriend, and just not wanting her. How corrosive that must have been for her. Oh man, holy shit. Yeah. Did it with the other girl. Oh yeah, the other girl that, you know, had a blow up at me and just like, you know, just like dumped this like a whole emotional shit on me. We were friends for a good 10 years, I think. Wait, from 2001 to 2012 when she dumped all this shit on me. Yeah, think about that. 11 years, you know? And well, I realized what was going on. I think that also she thought that I was like her, you know, if nobody better came along, that I might be her you know, the one that she settles for. It was really weird. Now that I think about it retrospectively, I think that she was initially attracted to me and then was just friends with me. And I think also, I think at some point she thought that I was her beta orbiter, and then the tables turned, but I was never really interested in her because she because I haven't spoken to her since she blew up in me, she had certain things about her that I would never want in a woman in my life. You know, I just was not sexually attracted to her, but I liked her. I liked her a lot because she was into art and she was into books, and so am I, and so it was great to talk with her, but, you know. But anyway, the point is, see, this kind of relationship is corrosive to both sides. It'll eat you alive. And that's why you don't want it to happen. You don't want it to, you want to cut it out as soon as possible. Okay, this video, once again, this video kind of peters out. I start repeating myself and it just like fucking goes nowhere. So, bottom line, don't be friends with a girl. And if you're a girl watching this, don't be friends with a guy, okay? There's no such thing as a friendship between a man and a woman, period. I know. I used to think that there was, you know. Hollywood had me brainwashed. But experience taught me better.